Hi, I'm Rachel Connolly, and I'm Head of Languages at Wixon's Academy. And this is Kelly Miles, who's Head of Humanities at Wixon's Academy. And we're going to talk to you today about the Languages and the Humanities Department. And we've also got 5 of our lovely Year 9s in the background who will be here to answer any of the questions you have. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. And then at the end, when we've both kind of said some things that we want to say, then you guys can ask as many questions as you like, and some of our students will be able to answer them. So I'm going to go first by talking about the Languages Department. So at Wixom's, we study both French and Spanish from Year 7. So students will have an hour a week of French and an hour a week of Spanish. In Year 7, we really focus on the speaking side of languages and the listening. But students will also have an opportunity to read and write in both French and Spanish as well. They can then go on to Gcse and choose either French or Spanish or both if they want to. In language lessons, we love our online resources. We use Quizlet, which is a quiz vocabulary tool, which is, there's lots of games on there, but there's also kind of more vocabulary testing and quizzing. It's a really nice one to use at home for homeworks as well. And then conjuguemos is another one we really love. It is a Spanish word, but we use it in French as well, which is all about how to form tenses and verbs, and is really good for those kind of higher level when they get onto Key Stage 4, using those kind of languages. So we love our games, we love our quizzes. The best thing about languages at Wixon's Academy is how many links we have to the outside community. We've set up this department at Wixom's, and as we've set it up, we've managed to get both the Global Schools Award and the British Council International Languages Award. And these are awards that recognise us for all the links that we have to languages and the world and our community. So things that have got us those awards are we have links with schools in both France and Spain, and our students write to those students. So we have some Year 9s, Year 8s and 9s who write to a school in Spain, in Madrid, and we have some Year 10s who are writing to students in a school in France, and they can just use the language that they've learned in lessons to be able to communicate with actual students in another country, and then they write back to us in English. And it's things like that that have got us these awards. It's also just the school in general and how much we kind of link to the community. We talk about other countries in every lesson, and so those things have got us these awards. And the other really amazing things we've done over the last few years, we've had visits from the Untitled Theatre Company, who are real French and Spanish speakers who come in and perform plays to our students entirely in the target language. And we have lessons before where we talk about what language they could cover, and then we have lessons after where we review that language. Some of these students in the background managed to go last year to the Ole Tapas Bar in Spain, in Milton Keynes, but it's a Spanish tapas bar, and they got to order their food in Spanish. They got to try real authentic Spanish food, and they got to then talk to the waiters and the chefs afterwards in Spanish. So it was using that real language, which is why we learn these languages, so that we can actually go and use that language really in real life. Also, we've taken the current Year 10s a couple of years ago, managed to go to the Europa Language Centre, and we're hoping to go back there again next year. It's a centre in London that is set up like a fake French town, and the students go in and they pretend that they're on a real day out in France. So they might, the one that we did was they pretended that there'd been a robbery and they had to try and find out what had happened and then identify the person that they thought had done the crime, talk to the police, and it was all done with real native French speakers. But again, was an example of when they might really need to use that language in real life. If they ever went to France and saw a crime happen, they'd feel confident that they could do that because they'd had that experience. They also got to try some pain au chocolat and some croissants and eat in the cafe afterwards, which I'm sure was their highlight. I've already mentioned the pen pal schools, so in both France and Spain, and maybe one day there'll be the opportunity to actually go and visit those schools and those students. We also have a language leaders programme where some of our year 9s and 10s have been involved in kind of spreading their love of languages onto the younger year groups, and we're hoping this year that we'll be able to spread that more into the community so that they'll be able to go and talk to the primary schools, make those links with the primary schools, and maybe even teach some of the things that they've learned to some of the feeder primary schools. And then the final thing that I'm really excited about but hasn't had an opportunity to happen yet is our trip to France. We were meant to take the current year 10s to France in March, just a week after we went into lockdown. So it hasn't yet happened, but it is rebooked for next March. And it's a trip to Saint-Omer in northern France that is a food-themed trip. So they get to go to a bakery, a chocolate factory, which they're very excited about, a bee farm where they talk about how they make honey, a sea life centre, and they also get some shopping experiences in French markets and French supermarkets. So again, it is using that real and authentic language, and obviously it's an opportunity to actually travel to France. Also in the languages department, we do offer the home languages GCSE. So students that speak another language than English at home and are fluent in the written and the spoken form of that language can opt to do a GCSE in that language. So at the moment, we've got students who are studying for the Polish and the Portuguese GCSE, and they're currently in year 10, but next year we'll be able to take the GCSE in that language. So I'll pass over now to Kelly Miles, and she'll talk about the Humanities department.
Hi, as Miss Connolly just said, my name is Kelly Miles and I am the head of Humanities, which means I am in charge of Geography, History, RE and Pshe. So I'm going to talk you through the programmes of study for each one. But the first thing I want to do is introduce you to our faculty. So in our faculty, there are 5 members of the faculty. So there is myself and Miss Palmer, who are both geography specialists. So we run the geography curriculum. There is Miss Adesina and Miss Higgett, who are both historians. So they run the history faculty. And then I have Miss Gibbs, who is an RE and philosophy specialist. So she is in charge of running the RE and the Pshe. Okay, so I believe if we go on to the next slide, you'll see some little emojis of them that they have kindly made for you. So here are the kind of key teachers, and you can see their roles within school. You'll also notice that I am a member of the teaching learning team at Wixham's Academy, which means I'm heavily involved in supporting the curriculums across the entire academy. So get involved in lots of development of teaching and learning across the school. So if we talk first of all about geography, which is my specialism. So geography at Wixham's Academy follows the national curriculum. So we stick to the national curriculum quite closely, and all that information can be found on the government website. So if you look here, we've got a list of the kind of things students would do at Key Stage 3. Ranging from skills, so geographical skills, we do a lot of country studies, and then we have both our physical and human geography aspects. So you've got your hazards, natural disasters, biomes, but also the study of population and resources and things like that. It's a hugely varied course covering lots of different skills, so lots of mathematics, lots of numeracy in there and data collection. We have lots of extended writing opportunities as well. As part of that course, it's really important that we develop the fieldwork skills. So students in every year group get fieldwork opportunities. They start off in year 7 by doing that locally in school. So they basically do studies around the school. We've actually just done one with our current year 7. We did have to do it semi-virtually because of the current situation, but we were able to still successfully collect all the data. So they will design, collect, just kind of design the fieldwork programme, collect the data, present the data and analyse it. They do 2 in school in year 7, and at the end of year 7 they go to Kew Gardens so they can kind of explore more of go on more of a trip and apply some of those techniques a bit wider afield. In year 8 we have links with the local retirement village. So the students actually do a unit studying population and the ageing population of the UK, and we go and visit the retirement village. We have some tours there, we interview some of the elderly. The students absolutely love it, and the people at the retirement village love it too. And then they come back and they present some of the data, and actually these guys behind me did do that last year, so that might be something that they would quite happily talk about. That is currently on hold this year for the current year 8, given the current circumstances. But again, we're looking to make some virtual links with the retirement village to be able to kind of broadcast that, if you like, a bit later on in the year. In year 9, we visit the Crystal Museum in London, which is all about sustainability, climate change in the future. And then at GCSE, students have their compulsory fieldwork studies, where they will go out and collect their data for their particular courses that they are studying. And as you can see on here, we do run a Humanities at the Movies Club as well. So the last week of each month, we have a kind of extended club after school on a Wednesday, where we show all sorts of different movies and documentaries about things that are going on in the world, linking mostly to geography, but we do bring in aspects of the other humanities as well. In terms of the history programme at Wixham's Academy, you can see that the students also follow the National Curriculum Framework. So they follow they start off by looking at key skills, just like they do in geography. It's really important when they join us in year 7 that we kind of assess the skills they've developed from primary school, and we give them a bit of time to develop them. So the first unit is what is history, and exploring different sources, and then they go into study key aspects of history in time order. Okay, so chronological order, as you can see on there, there's a list of different kind of things that they will be doing. Again, they have trips in history, so they have got local trips to local museums, focusing particularly on Bedford history. As part of the Key Stage 3 programme, they need to study an aspect of local history, and there is a plan to link up with Kenilworth Castle and Bletchley Park as well. The new team, as I say, Miss Higgett and Miss Adesina, are currently sorting out those trips at the moment. Both GCSE geography and history are available to study at Key Stage 4, and it isn't a choice between the two, so students can study both, just like they can study both French and Spanish if they wish, and of course, if they really wish, they can do a combination of all of them. Okay. I've just realised I missed out probably the most important thing about geography, which as Miss Connolly told you about her foreign field trips, I should too. So in geography, we are planning on running foreign field trips starting from 2022. So around about February time in 2022, we are looking to go to the Azores in Portugal. That would be offered for GCSE students initially, extending out depending on numbers. And the plan is that annually there will be a foreign geographical field trip ranging from Italy. We're looking at Italy, Switzerland, Iceland, and the Azores, and all are areas that both me and Miss Palmer have delivered in terms of trips before. Okay, so we're looking forward to that setting up in the next couple of years. RE here. So the RE follows the locally agreed syllabus. So RE is compulsory, so students study RE all the way up to GCSE. So it's a compulsory subject, and what the local areas do is they have their own agreed syllabus. So we follow the one that is agreed for Bedfordshire, which again can be found on local government websites. And there are different aspects that we can choose to focus on. So we have chosen the following units at Key Stage 3 because they give us breadth in terms of the content. So you can see that students get to look at lots of different aspects of religion and science, looking at environmental aspects. So you see there's different environmental aspects in there. They start off in year 7 with a basic unit on worship and how and why people worship. And this ranges from looking at exploring all the different religions, but also different aspects of worship in terms of kind of like idols and celebrities and all sorts of different things like that, and what's the kind of the thinking behind this idea of worship. And then they develop their understanding through the following topics of different key religions. Again, there are trips planned in RE. The trip that is currently being planned is trips to place of worship. Now, the primary schools here, we're very lucky that most of the primary feeder schools do offer RE trips to lots of the local places of worship. So students come to us with quite a good knowledge of the local religions in the area, which is really good. So we do explore with them lots of the census data and things like that about the people that are basically within their community. But we are looking to take that a bit further afield and look at going to places like the Eco Mosque to look at the idea of religions, but also thinking about the future and climate change and bridge that between geography and RE. And then finally, we have Pshe. So Pshe is basically taught in year 7 and 8. Students have an hour a week of Pshe, and they basically follow in this time 3 key themes. So you can see here their health and well-being, relationships, and living in the wider world. And it works as a kind of developmental program. So in each year, students will look at each of these aspects, and then they return to the same aspects each year, but developing them the next step forward. So you can see on the screen here, you've got a list of different things they will cover at Key Stage 3. Lots of different aspects, so things like digital literacy, things like growing up and risks, emotional well-being, discrimination and human rights. So lots of different aspects, and they will touch upon the same aspects multiple times as they go through the school, but developing in depth each time they return to that aspect. And there is a trip link to this, because from the citizenship point of view, we do a lot of citizenship, and within that we do a lot of democracy and what is it, and teaching about the voting system. So there is a trip to the Houses of Parliament planned as part of that Pshe programme. Students continue to take Pshe throughout their entire time at Wixham's Academy. So as they move into Key Stage 4, they take basically a combination of Pshe and RE as an hour a week continually through their Key Stage 4 programme. And it is the same themes that are returned to again and developed each year. So that basically concludes most of the information about the Humanities department. If you have got any questions for myself or Miss Connolly, or in fact our lovely students, please send them in so that we can, of course, answer any questions for you. Okay, what we'll do is we'll get some of our students to talk in, shall we? Is there anyone that would like to say anything about MFL? Go on, Ella. Go on, Ella.
We've been studying French and Spanish since year 7 at the school. We studied them for, as Ms. Connolly said, 1 hour a week. They're kind of, there are definitely links between the languages. So you'll find similarities in the tenses and stuff like that. So it helps when you're learning them both, because there's kind of some rules that you will remember for both. Yeah, and both and all of the languages teachers are really good. They're very helpful. If you need help with something, they'll help you as best they can. Yeah.
Thank you, Ella. I've just seen a question there that says, do we do Italian lessons? We don't study Italian as part of the curriculum. Ella actually speaks Italian at home, but you found that having spoken Italian, you find French and Spanish so much easier, don't you? Yeah. But we do also have a couple of members of staff who do speak Italian. So there isn't currently a club that does do Italian, but that could be something that does continue in the future. And I am aware that some of the local primary schools do Italian. So we'll try and make some links with them and make sure that we're carrying it on. But it's learning if you've learnt one language before, it can continue from that anyway.
Okay, that's a good question actually. So that's quite a good question about so one's just been raised about what's happened about the pupils who have missed out on trips this year. So I think it's a combination of factors really. So so the year 7s for me missed out on going to Kew Gardens. Now we were really lucky that Kew Gardens have put together a massive virtual program that I've been able to basically steal all that information and put that together in part of our biome topic that we are currently studying. So we've still been able to explore that. They are the year group who are going to miss out on going to the retirement village at the moment, which is why I'm keeping very strong links with that retirement village and trying to set up a virtual programme. The plan is that we will try and get that towards the end of the year, because of course, of all places, they're going to be one of the places that are going to open up last in terms of allowing school students in. So the plan is that we will, if we can, go towards the end of the summer. If not, make those virtual links, and they are super keen to do that. They're happy to make videos and do kind of interviews and things like that virtually. So that is hopefully going to be in place for them. And the current year, these guys haven't missed out at all, have you? These guys were fine. They didn't miss out on any of the trips. So they've been quite straightforward. And then the GCSE geography trips for me were basically all planned for this up and coming year anyway. So that hasn't been a problem so far. There is a contingency in place to kind of shift them to the start of year 11 if we have to, but they are currently sorted. And then did you want to talk about your French trip?
Yeah, so the French trip to France, as I've already mentioned, has been postponed. We first of all postponed it to October. That's been postponed again to March, and we will postpone it as long as we need to. We do have plans for if that couldn't go ahead for travel reasons. We do have there are some online tools that we can still kind of explore that part of France. And obviously there are lots of French speakers in the UK that we will hopefully be able to use and kind of make those links. Also our school in France that we already have links with, we can maybe try and do some online conversations with them so they actually do get to talk to French people. None of my other trips have been affected at the moment either, but if any of the year groups were affected, we'd look at doubling up. So if this year group couldn't do their French trip at the time that I wanted it because of last year's one having to be postponed, then we just try and link them up and do maybe 2 year groups at a time when that is feasible. And I've just seen another question saying, will there be a Spanish trip like the French trip? Yep, that is, we have got a plan to hopefully run one. And the idea was that once the French trip had run, we would then do a Spanish trip and alternate them. So 1 year would be a French trip, the following year would be a Spanish trip. But we're just waiting for the French trip to happen so that we can do that. It takes quite a long time to plan a trip abroad, so we just don't want to book anything in if then travel restrictions didn't change. So hopefully that would be able to happen in the future.
Okay, did anyone want to talk about geography? Go on then.
So geography in Wixham's Academy all around has been very enjoyable. Personally, it's been my second favourite subject for like the entirety of me being here and that. And like, because you learn about so much about the world and the variety of it. Like, how about the biomes, about the rainforest, like tundra, taiga, and that, like different countries in the hemispheres and how they all adapted to the conditions and how much money they have.
What's your first favourite subject?
No,
you can say it. PE. Okay, PE. What about history?
So in history, we've covered quite a wide variety of things. So in year 7, we started off learning about things in 1066, and since then we've covered a lot up until almost the present day and things like that. So we learned about the Normans, and now we've kind of worked up until World War I, World War II, and the Holocaust. And I think it's really important because you get to see things from different perspectives and you can learn a lot from history, so I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Any RE?
Basically, RE's been really enjoyable with Miss Gibbs. She joined in, was it year 8, I think? Yeah.
Last year, yeah. So when you were in year 8.
And it's just been really enjoyable. My last school, I kind of went off RE a bit because we didn't have the right teacher. It wasn't that good, but since I've joined here, it's been really enjoyable.
I think the key is that it's subject specialists delivering each one of the humanities, which I think makes a massive difference in terms of the actual impact they can have on the subject and the delivery of it. PSHE? Go for it, Thea.
So in PSHE we do a lot of we do a lot of oh my god.
Okay.
Sorry. So in PSHE we well, recently we have done like internet, like privacy and stuff, and in the past we've done like quite a lot of other things.
That's okay. Anyone help them out? Any kind of things you've done in PSH? Go on then.
Because we are meant to be choosing our options soon, we have been doing the past couple of weeks, we've been looking at our start profile, which is basically you kind of group together what you've done so far, what sort of things you like, and it kind of gives you advice on, okay, what careers would you like to do because of what you're interested in, and then how can that help you when you're choosing your options and things like that. So yeah, we've done a variety of different things as well over the years.
Okay.
Out of our subjects, what's the best trip that you've been on? Or one of the trips you've been on?
I was about to say, Kew Gardens was a very good trip. I enjoyed it a lot. I like doing that sort of stuff. It was just enjoyable going around, walking. I mean, not really walking. They're just really enjoyable.
Yeah, I think most of us here enjoy Kew Gardens the most because it's just a really fun trip, which was organised very well.
Any other trips?
The trip to the Ole Tapas bar was very fun as well, because we were speaking to them in the language and then we were getting served food as well, so what's not to like?
Exactly. And you got free churros as well, didn't you?
Yeah, they told us if we leave a good TripAdvisor review, we got free churros.
Did you have to leave the TripAdvisor review in Spanish?
Oh, I think so. I think we were advised to do it in Spanish if we could, but if not, don't.
Is there anything you're most looking forward to about continuing with these subjects?
I think the subjects are just fun to do. I think since our year is moving up into GCSEs, we have a lot of choices ahead of us, but I think all of us are willing to make those choices, and I think we're going to really enjoy them.
I can't see any more questions coming through, so I think we are going to say goodbye and thank you for watching. I'll just pivot it so Miss Connolly can say goodbye.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, and guys,
Thank you.
Bye.
thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye.